Here in the studio with us, we are being joined by Funmi Ogunleye. She's the programs coordinator for CELSIR, a non-profit focused on inmate rehabilitation and prisons education. You are welcome, Ms. Ogunleye.
Thank you, Majino.
Thank you for joining us. Also, Bernard Akede is joining us online. He's been up since an hour, and he joined us very early this morning to have this conversation. Welcome back from the Kirikiri Medium Correctional Centre, Bernard, and not as an inmate. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Thank you guys both for coming on. I think it's a very important discussion when it comes to talking about education behind bars. So, I mean, I must start, first of all with Funmi here and just ask her about basically the work that you're doing and why, you're raising awareness about just education behind bars. Let's start there.
Okay, thank you very much. So, the work we do at Center for Legal Support and Inmate Rehabilitation, CELSIR. So, our work is, first, the legal services to indigent, incarcerated persons, people who cannot afford lawyers. We provide services for them, and then there's the rehabilitation angle to our work and the re-entry support. So we believe in second chances. Our slogan is giving love, hope, and second chances. We believe that if persons who have been incarcerated have the chance, are properly rehabilitated, have the chance, have a second chance to come back to society, they can do better, they will know better, they will perform better. So this is one of the things that informed our initiative, and education is one of the powerful weapons, yes, we use when it comes to helping formerly incarcerated persons and incarcerated persons. So we've known that over time in our work, we've seen that a lot of persons in prison probably are not well informed. They are there for poverty, minor demeanor offenses, which if they had the opportunity, they're given a better chance, they might not be there. So why not help them? Why not support them to get a better life? So part of our initiative, we have the GC preparatory class for them, ensuring that at least, even if the person spends 10 years here in the year, when the person comes out, the person can go ahead and further their education. And thankfully, Nigeria also supports the National Open University. They can enroll. I mean, they get a better chance to get jobs when they come outside if they have their certification in there. So part of what we did recently at the launch of the creating the awareness, we actually got into a partnership with Allison to start giving them access to globally accredited courses. Now, you come out and people see that while you were in prison, you were doing something worthwhile with your life. You were getting certifications. They know that, yes, this person's mind has been renewed. There's a transformation ongoing. There are people there that do not bother doing anything, but we believe if somebody takes the step to say, okay, I want to get educated, I want a better life. I do not want to waste my time here. We don't call it prison anymore. It's now a correctional facility.
Exactly.
So if that shows that you're being corrected, something is changing. And beyond that, it's not even just for rehabilitation purpose. It's a right. Education is a right, irrespective of someone being incarcerated. So that is something we're trying to uphold.
For me, let me say this first of all. Right off the bat, your passion shows, and I can see that you're doing this from the inside. But I'm going to come to Bernard, our lead correspondent here at News Central. Bernard, let's ask you from an experiential point of view, what did you see when you got to the Kirikiri Medium Correctional Facility? What did it make you feel like? And with the inclusion of people's rights being given to them, education, where do you see this going?
Thanks again for having me, and I'd just like to say that I think CELSIR is doing a fantastic job, to start with. This was my third time of visiting that particular prison, second time of going in, and the inclusion of education for persons who are being incarcerated, I think it's a fantastic innovation by CELSIR and by every other group that has taken it upon themselves, more often than not pro bono, if I might add, to ensure that persons in the correctional facility gain, education. Now, Valentine, who you saw in that particular report, who was incarcerated for about 21 years and recently gained freedom, so maybe 3-4 years ago, made a statement that stuck with me, and that's what I would use to answer your question. He said that when one is incarcerated as such, time is one thing that you hold dearly, and it's a currency. You see the people who are there stuck for 7 years, 8 years, 9 years. In Valentine's case, he was facing life. I think death penalty, if I'm not mistaken. And that currency, which is time, you have to think about how best you can spend it. In his case, he said he spent it studying and in church. And I think it's a good thing that these particular organizations are trying to ensure that certain persons who are interested while incarcerated find a way to spend this particular currency quite meaningfully, such that when they come out, like your guest also did say, they can be useful not just to themselves, but to society at large. Let's not forget that one major issue that inmates or ex-inmates face when eventually they gain freedom is stigmatization, and the fact that they find it difficult to, to reacclimatize to society. However, with proper education, further education, and thanks to the National Open University of Nigeria as well, these people are able to, in more ways than one, be reintroduced to society and make themselves useful. And then to answer the question about how I kind of felt about the environment, it's it's one thing to talk about the correctional facilities on the outside. It's another thing to see what's going on the inside. One thing you can take away from a person is their freedom. And that's one thing that you see while you're in there. Just the thought that people are in here for years, months, and will not see what the outside world looks like, it gives you this chilling feel, or chilly feel, if you like. But again, I think it's a laudable innovation. It's a fantastic venture, so to say, that the likes of CELSIR and others are doing. And I think with the right support by government and other organizations, persons who are facing incarceration can eventually come out a lot better than the way they went in.
You're bringing support to the fore, because then let's talk about challenges as well, that organizations like CELSIR and also facilitators who are aiding in educating the incarcerated. When you spoke to the inmates as well as the facilitators, what did they say were the biggest challenges in ensuring that the education be met?
All right. Well, first of all, we're not able to speak to the inmates. As a matter of fact, we're hardly able to interact with any of the inmates for obvious reasons. You could hardly even turn your neck or your camera more than 45 degrees without getting somebody, clawing down upon you. And you definitely understand why that's happening. But for the, what I call them, the former inmates who we spoke to, and in that program, there was a panel discussion where they spoke. I'll try and highlight some of the challenges that they gave. Gideon, who's Ghanaian, who came in, talked about the challenge of the government bringing in more facilities. First of all, he said there are over 40 correctional facilities in Ghana, and just a few of them, just a handful of them, offer services, education services that are of, I think, university standard. So to start with, that is one major challenge, such that these correctional facilities would have certifications such that their inmates can be educated to the highest level as far as possible, as much as possible. Remember again that this event was held to commemorate Nelson Mandela Day. Nelson Mandela himself, I beg your pardon, spent, I believe, 27 years in Robben Island prison. Within the period, he gained a PhD. And this was back in the 90s. So imagine if we have those kind of facilities here in Nigeria and spread across Africa, where inmates can gain quality education. By the time they come out, you see somebody who has spent several years in a correctional facility coming out with a PhD, coming out with a master's degree, coming out with the BSc and other certifications. There was another gentleman who was on that panel who wore, I think, the Nigerian jersey. He went in and studied human kinetics and I think physical education. He's a certified football coach and trainer as well. There's Valentine himself, who came out having written 2 books or more, I believe, and so forth and so on. So first of all, there's that issue of the facilities being certified to properly train and educate people. There's also the issue of equipment and what's the word? Equipment and facilities and infrastructure, like Gideon and some other people also mentioned. Remember that people who want to do JAM now have to do computer-based tests. Not all the prisons have these facilities. As a matter of fact, I don't know if anyone has them. So if you have students who want to write certain examinations, the first challenge is that they cannot go out of the correctional facility, whereas they also do not have the equipment to do these exams while in those correctional facilities. So like it or not, they have been disqualified from doing those kind of exams. The young lady who was on that particular panel also complained about the fact that there are no conducive atmospheres for learning. In her own case, when she had to take her WAEC examination, there's noise. It's usually a noisy place amongst the inmates, but she had to study, she had to read. It was quite challenging for her to do that. And these are just a few of the several issues. Of course, there's the discouragement, like one of them mentioned, that come from other inmates. While you have those inmates who are there to push you and to encourage you and to try and learn, from what you are doing and from your experience, they also equally are those who would discourage, like one of the guys in there said, they're also those who would discourage you and pull you down, telling you that what you are here for is not to read. You are here to serve time. So there has to be that side of encouragement, either from the inmates themselves or from certain, will I say, officers who are engineered towards rejigging their psyche and helping them to know that this truly is a correctional facility where you can correct whatever ills brought you in here. So truly, and of course, again, there's a part of funding for the correctional facilities. There's government intervention that they're expecting, which some of the prison officials did mention. So it's a plethora of challenges that they have. It's good to see that these challenges are being addressed one after the other, but it would have been better to see that the addressing of these challenges will be swifter than what we currently have.
Oh, thank you very much, Bernard. But let's come back into the studio here with Funmi. It seems like you had your work cut out for you. And like I applauded you from before, what your organization is doing for these inmates, trying to help them get these education. However, there's that part. Like we can see from Gideon, is it Gideon now? Bote and Valentine, they are good samples. But let's talk about reintroducing them to society. If I came out with a certificate that says that I perhaps was in prison at so-and-so time when I got this certificate, what is true reintegration? Are businesses, business owners, government, corporate organizations, will they attend to that certificate like a regular, normal certificate?
Okay, thank you very much. I think one of the disservice you would do to somebody that is formally incarcerated is to give them a certificate bearing that
but they will have to account for time. In anybody's CV, where were you at so-and-so time? Oh, I was in prison, but you got a degree there. Yes, I did.
True. So part of what we do is look for partnerships with persons that would actually employ persons like this. In my organization, we have 2 of our staffs that are formally incarcerated.
Nice.
And they are a good example. You can never tell when you see them on the outside. So imagine you interacted because you eating with him and I tell you, oh, he was formerly incarcerated for 5 years. It changes your perspective.
Yeah, Poco and me wants to ask, what did he do? But let's keep it.
No, just leave it. Just pay
it will interest you to know that there are a lot of persons that did not do anything.
It's just a joke. Yeah, if you don't do a joke.
No, even if you ask, there's also the chance of, okay, has he changed? But why did he even do anything? So we have a community of formerly incarcerated persons. So when they come on the outside, we call them the Global Freedom Scholars. Those are people that embraced education while they were in incarceration. So when they come on the outside, we help them with job readiness, CV writing, and all of that. So it helps them to package themselves well.
So that's managing the symptom. The symptom is stigma. How about affecting the disease itself, which is the way people perceive these people on the outside? If you're doing this much for people on the inside, how about reorienting the people on the outside, us? Is there any program of the sort?
Yes, there is. So reorienting people on the outside too comes with programs like this. I'm here now, I'm talking to people that these things actually happen. A lot of persons do not even know they take education at the correctional facilities. And that was why we had the program in there. It's one thing to gather people on the outside and say, oh, we do this and this, but come inside and see what is being done. So we were very careful to bring in stakeholders, educational stakeholders in Lagos State, WIAC, having Ministry of Education, come on board and see this is what is going on. These are the challenges these people face. So when you're drawing your plan, can you begin to integrate the peculiarity of their situation into what you're drafting out? So this helps you know that, okay, this is going on. And we've got Ministry of Justice too. When people do this, when people get certified, they go ahead, attend BSc, Masters, while in incarceration. Would that count for something when making their judgments? Does that help? With society, we get a lot of persons. We bring people in. We try to bring people into the work to let them know this is what is happening. Meet with people, interact with them. And you find PhD holders there. You find people that are intellect there. And you know that the truth is, some people are just victims of circumstance.
Yeah. And
we should be grateful that we're on the outside. It's a lot being on the inside there. So how would you just put yourself down and just look at this person, that there's a possibility that this person can do better? There's a possibility for change. So we're regularly calling on people for reentry support. We're regularly calling for people on the outside. So come train them, come to get to know them. We'll let you meet them. What's your opinion? What's your take? And I'll say for the longest time, people's perspectives change when they get to interact with people that have been behind bars.
Interesting.
Interesting indeed. Bernard, as we're talking about reforms and just change and the willingness to want to welcome them and reintegrate them and destigmatize convicts and inmates, I do have to ask about, the correctional facilities themselves. Is there a willingness? Did you have any sense of willingness from them to want to, improve or prioritize learning programs among the inmates? Very quickly, because we're out of time.
I would say that one thing we've enjoyed.
I know that's for Bernard, but you can go after Bernard.
I was saying that, yeah, from responses we got from the officials of the correctional facilities, first of all, they were proud, I wouldn't even lie, to see persons like Valentine, particularly Valentine. Valentine is an amazing success story. To see someone like Valentine, who has spent up to 21 years behind bars, come out and be a national icon, if you ask me. Written 2 books in hardcover and 2 more he says he's currently writing that haven't been published yet. He's been invited by different groups and organizations. So yes, they are. I want to believe that they actually are looking forward to seeing some kind of improvement and to getting more of such success stories so that they can use people like Valentine to encourage others who are still stuck behind bars. I want to believe that for every organization, the end goal is to see that the product of whatever it is you are doing actually becomes a shining star or shining stars, such that you can use that as bragging rights to show that truly, if we are called a correctional facility, then the products we are pushing out are products that have been corrected eventually. And might I add, just like your guest also spoke earlier, you don't even get to tell when these persons come out eventually. There's nothing written on their forehead saying that they have been incarcerated in the past. So if truly they have been properly corrected and the correctional facilities have done their jobs, then it's a plus for both the facilities and for the nation at large. And finally, case in point, I'll tell you that even Valentine, who had been incarcerated for several years, I have met him before and never even knew that he was he had been incarcerated. Valentine is close to me, so to speak, in certain ways, and I was shocked. I was shell-shocked when I met him at the correctional facility that day, and then knowing that he was going to be the keynote, he was going to take the keynote address, and that he works with CELSIR and has been there has been stuck behind bars for several years. So it's a plus and a win for both the correctional facility, and the society at large.
Very quickly, you wanted to submit, yes, we'll round up. Correctional facilities, are they prioritizing learning?
Yes, I'll say they are. That is one thing we enjoy. We enjoy their support, but they have their limitations due to government funding and all of that. But yes, they prioritize learning. Thank you.
All right. Well, Funmi, thank you. We appreciate you.
Funmi
Ogunleye, she is one of the directors at CELSIR and also our very own lead correspondent, Bernard Akede. Many thanks.
Thank you very much, Bernard. I'm sure that this gives freedom a totally new meaning to you after witnessing all of this. Thank you once again.